Longtime U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley hosted a town hall today, all to discuss issues facing that area.
Every year, the senator goes on an all 99 county tour to meet with local residents. Today's was hosted at the Fort Madison City Hall. WGEM's Johnny Peterson is back now from Lee County with a recap of today's town hall meeting.
Well, for starters, you could barely get into the council chambers. People were piled up outside of the building, and the atmosphere was very tense. The meeting was roughly an hour long, and residents were not shy about asking tough questions. Topics like border security, healthcare, and the state of the country today were all brought up. One topic not mentioned was tariffs. After the meeting, myself and others had the opportunity to speak with Senator Grassley, and he brought up how other countries have started negotiations with the U.S., and he believes this will be successful.
The increasing of tariffs bring people to the tariffs and get tariffs down. President Trump, with his tactics, is going to be much more successful than we've done through the WTO process.
It wasn't particularly well addressed, I don't believe. Tariffs, of course, are not the answer for the problem that's trying to be addressed.
Senator Grassley added that roughly 15 countries have reached an agreement regarding the tariffs. I spoke with several Lee County residents earlier, and most of them told me they want a leader who's going to have their best interest at heart and someone who will continue to fight for them in Washington. That is why they came out to the town meeting. Daniel?
All right, thanks, Jenny. Senator Grassley also discussed farm safety and veterans affairs with voters in Lee County.